some point you are going to have to face the task of potty training if you have little kids. Now, it's going to happen sooner or later, and in my opinion, sooner is better. But if this is something that is on the horizon for you, or you had a poor experience the first time around, I hope that this video really helps change your mind about potty training, what the world wants you to know, but what is actually realistic. And I want to help you through that. So make sure you keep watching. Potty training is something that sounds a bit strange to say this, but it is close to my heart. I am very passionate about it, as you will find out in this video. So I am excited to share my thoughts on the process. And if you are new here, hello and welcome. My name is Julie. I hold a doctorate in occupational therapy. I coach moms to go from feeling overwhelmed and a little bit all over the show to feeling calm, confident, in control of their emotions, feeling like they have structure and more time for themselves, which is really important when you have little kids. I also have 3 of those little kids, and I've had to potty train 2 of them so far, and I have an 18-month-old, so we will be potty training her in the next 6 months or so. So I am right there with you in this new kid, early childhood life, and I'm really glad to have you here. If you didn't know, I also have a newsletter and a podcast that go out weekly, so make sure you check out those links down below. All the details will be there. And I'm very active on Instagram, so make sure you come and say hi, send me a message, give me suggestions of what is going on in your life and how I can make a video to help you. I would love to weigh in on things that you're struggling with and things that keep you up at night. Potty training is definitely one of those, so let's dive right in. I probably don't need to tell you this, but so much of how we parent in modern life is shaped by big business. And that's kind of sucky to talk about because so much of how we parent is instinctual and evolutionary and biological, but in comes big corporations, and no truer is that when it comes to potty training and diapers. I don't need to state the obvious, but diaper companies, they want your kids in diapers for as long as possible, and that is why they make diapers going into the 5, 6, 7-year-old age group, which for the most part, for average child, is not going to be necessary. And I want to really shift your mindset around potty training, and specifically waiting too long to potty train your child. Diapers are terrible for the environment. In fact, it takes something like 500 years for one disposable diaper to decompose. And another thing that I think is something that we overlook is that keeping a child in diapers for too long degrades their dignity, in my opinion. If a child is now old enough to be toilet trained or to learn how to use a toilet appropriately, they should not be in diapers any longer. In her book, Oh Crap, A Guide to Potty Training, Jamie Glowacki talks about the ideal age, in her opinion and based on her research, when it comes to potty training children. And this may surprise you, but she cites between 20 and 30 months as being the window of opportunity when it comes to potty training. Now, to convert that into years, because not everybody just kind of knows what 20 months means, 20 months is just over a year and a half, and 30 months is 2.5. That is the window that she recommends. And I would say that most of us, at least going into parenthood, suspect that our kids will be in diapers until at least age 3. In my experience, and you know, with my own children, with my clients, with my friends that have kids, when you wait longer than 2.5, 2 3/4, 3 years old, you will really struggle to potty train because children become a lot more resistant and used to where they go to the bathroom. When they're in that range, and this is why I think Jamie recommends this, they are a lot more amenable to being shown where to potty train. Yeah, they might not be as verbal or as capable as a 3-year-old, but remember, we are reshaping their habits. We're not teaching them how to use the bathroom per se, we're teaching them where to use the bathroom, which is a modern concept. You know, it's not necessarily instinctual, but what is instinctual is that we create habits, and just like animals, we like to pee in the same place. Another thing that people will say say for potty training later is that, my child is just not ready. He's not showing signs of readiness and I don't want to force him. And that is something very valid. But I also want you to really look and see if your children maybe are showing signs of readiness earlier than you expect. Maybe they're imitating where to go, or they want to sit on the toilet, or they're trying to take off their clothes and go to the bathroom. And often as parents, we are not showing signs of readiness, right? We are not ready to now be in the world where we cannot control our children's bathroom habits, and we have to now think about them not having any protection and peeing just wherever. We are not showing them that we trust and believe in them, that they can actually do this. So think about your signs of readiness before you start critiquing your child's. In my mind, there are just so many pros to starting potty training, toilet learning around the 2-year mark. Sometimes a little bit earlier, sometimes a little bit later, but it's going to be a little bit of a phase. So it's going to be, say, 4 to 6 months of really teaching your child, where the accidents or just kind of mishaps get fewer and fewer. So some of the things that I think are amazing. Diapers are super expensive. The fewer you have to buy, the more money you're going to save. If you cloth diaper, less that you have to clean. Your child's dignity. This is huge. Once they were able to tell you that there is something in their diaper that they have wet themselves and that they're starting to be able to manipulate their clothing, I feel like we owe it to them to help take them to the next level, which is toilet learning. I really don't think it is dignified for a 3-year-old to be walking around kind of in their own mess. They are easier to train when they are younger than 3 years old. And this can really show up in children that have a strong personality, that kids that are very stubborn and persevere, which I actually personally think are great qualities in human beings to really know what you want. But when you are trying to persuade a 3-year-old to do something they don't want to do and they smell the desperation on you, it is incredibly hard to change those habits. When they are younger, as I said, they're more impressionable, they're more malleable, and they're probably more amenable to peeing and pooping in the toilet or the potty than when they are a 3-nager. This is a huge one, but the habit to pee in a diaper becomes more ingrained over time. So the longer that you wait, the harder that habit is to break. When a child is still in that early phase of like coming into themselves and, still learning how to talk and everything, they are not as attached to a diaper being like a safe place for them to eliminate as a younger child. And that's why it's important to really think about this window of time between 20 and 30 months and see how you can start to integrate toilet learning into your child's life. Now, for me, this is a personal preference, but I prefer if a child is going to start going to school or a daycare, and I know this is not possible for everybody because a lot of kids go to daycare from baby, but my kids started school, we had a nanny before that, but they started school from about 2.25 years old, and even younger, and I really felt like I didn't want strangers changing them. Now, people at school are going to help your child go to the bathroom if they are potty trained and help them just manipulate their clothing and make sure they're wiped and that kind of thing. But it's different from having your older child lying there, having their diaper changed. It just didn't sit well with me. So it was kind of something important to me to toilet train my children before they started going to formal school. And in my experience, you will have an easier time with getting children to poop in a toilet when you do it younger. That is something that a child, especially a child that's strong-willed or maybe has had a big life change, like the introduction of a sibling into their life or moving or something like that, they will use pooping as a way to control their environment, because someone so little, like a 3-year-old, they can't control much. All they really can control is kind of what they eat, maybe what they wear, and where they go to the bathroom. So they will use everything they can to create that sense of autonomy because they're so much more aware of it as a 3-year-old. And I feel like if we start younger and don't make it a big deal, keep it neutral, just like I talk about a lot of things like food as well, keep it neutral, you will have so much of an easier time. So you recognize now that, you want to potty train your child on the younger side, around the 2-year-old mark. Where do you even start? Like so much in parenting, I think if you think that it's hard, it will be hard. And if you go in there with an open mind and low expectations, you're going to have so much more of an easier time. So this is what I would do. And this is what I'm going to do with my 18-month-old as she gets a little bit older. I would start off by rolling up the carpets, because accidents are going to happen. Whether your child is 3 or not, there's probably going to be some kind of accident. It's just the way it works. I would roll up the carpet or roll up anything that I feel like is not easy to clean, and I would remove her diaper. The reason I say that this is important, they need to have naked time, or they need to go commando, however you want to think about it, because what happens when you just pee in a diaper is that you lose the connection, or you never develop the connection between what your bladder is feeling, like the sensation of feeling like you need to use the bathroom, and your brain. And Jamie talks about this a lot as well in her book. It's this idea that, the bladder needs to be kind of exercised, it needs to be activated, and if we wait too long, those connections can kind of slip away. So by having a child who's now old enough to start to recognize, oh, I'm eliminating something that's coming out of my body, and now the next step is to go to the toilet. This is how you start toilet training. And it really doesn't take that long. You will hear of kids potty training in 3 days or 1 day or that kind of thing. I'm not sure if that is the norm in my experience. You're starting a new habit. This takes a couple of days to a week. It's also based on how consistent you are. So once you decide for real that you're starting potty training, you can't go back, in my opinion. Now, I'm not talking about like nap time or bedtime where you feel like your child will still need a diaper. That is something that you will have to slowly build up the confidence to decide, okay, she's woken up dry for 3 days in a row now. So let's try and have a nap without a diaper. And you could put down a pad or something. You never want to sacrifice sleep, in my opinion. So you don't want them to have any reason to wake up. But really, once you decide no more diapers, it's no more diapers. As I said, who is the readiness for? Is it the parent, very much addicted to the diaper and like holding on really, really tightly because they're afraid? Or is it the child? And how are you using your mindset to show your child that you are confident and trust in their ability to do this? Now your child's wandering around with a t-shirt on and naked from the bottom. This is what you need to do. You have a potty or toilet close by, however you want to do it, and you remind them and you prompt them every 30 minutes about going to the bathroom. We got really good at this. Every time we would leave the house, our children pee, and they still do this. They go and pee before we leave, they pee at the next destination. Obviously they're older now, their bladders have had time to develop the musculature, the strength to withhold elimination for certain amounts of time. But when a child is just learning how to go to the potty, they need to be prompted every 20 to 30 minutes. And yeah, it's like anything, starting a new habit, it requires more work, but it's not forever. And you are showing your child that you believe that they can do this, and you are here to support them, and you're showing up so that they can be successful. And that is what they really feel. Once they actually pee or poop in a toilet, you go crazy. You have a party, you do all these things that make them feel really, really special and accomplished, because you have now helped them shift a habit that they have had since they were born and don't even remember into something completely foreign and new. And that is something to celebrate. That's a big, big deal. I do not find it necessary to bribe children with like candy or anything, but because I feel like it can go down a path where now every time you pee, you get an M&M. That is your decision as the parent to decide whether that is worth it. Some children love star charts and are very motivated by that. But we found that just being celebratory, being excited, just the accomplishment in and of itself was enough. As an adult, I'm sure no one is giving you an M&M every time you pee in the toilet. You're just happy that your clothes are nice and dry, that you feel more comfortable, that you can easily flush and move on with your day. And it's kind of the same thing with your kids. As I said, you want to set them up for success. So you want to make sure that you're not giving them too much liquid before bed, or that you're not giving them super salty food so that they're drinking so much water and then they just need to pee everywhere. You really do want to set them up for success. You want to start off by going out, for short errands at a time, or going to grandma's house where it's not as big a deal if you pee on the floor, and it's really not a big deal if you pee on the floor. As I said, roll up the carpets because that is a pain in the butt to clean, but like if they pee on the floor, you're a parent, you've had all kinds of bodily fluids all over you, it is not a big deal, and they will learn so quickly that this is kind of not what we do. In my experience, we've been able to potty train all of our children around the age of 2 and night train them around 3 years old. If you want more in-depth information on how I night train and how that process works, make sure you leave me a comment down below and I can make a video all about that. It's a gradual process that everybody is learning, but we've been able to do it without bribing them, without forcing them. They've been able to go to school independent and, potty trained, which is such a relief because a lot of schools and daycares will not accept children that are not potty trained by a certain age. So it's really, really nice. It's amazing not to have to worry about diapers anymore. I found round about the age that my children were resisting having diapers put on them is around about the time that they need to be potty trained, in my opinion. So what about you? What age do you think children should be potty trained? Is 2 way too young? Is it right on track? Is it too old? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe to this video, give it a like, a thumbs up, and turn on your notifications so that you know every time I upload a new video. I'm so excited to be able to share all of this content with you. I hope you're finding it really valuable. Let me know if it is helpful. And remember, Mama, you have got this. I'm here with you to support you, and I'm so excited to be on this journey.